We're going to begin, though, with the battle for the GOP presidential nomination. It's getting more personal after the New Hampshire primary. Now, CBS News projects a win for Donald Trump in yesterday's contest against former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. But in her speech last night, Haley said she is not dropping out of this race. Instead, she is vowing to fight on, and she is sharpening her attacks on the former president.
And speaking of attacks, former President Trump gave a victory speech that at times felt angry to some and included some threats threats of investigations, veiled and not so veiled in many people's view, if Nikki Haley does not drop out of this race, and soon. We've got team political coverage today, including how the Biden campaign is responding. But we're going to begin with Caitlin-Huey Burns in New Hampshire, where I was just yesterday. Caitlin, good morning.
Hey, Tony, good morning to you. Well, you got out just before the snow came down here in New Hampshire. It had held off yesterday, which led to record turnout, and independents showed up big, too. But still, it wasn't enough for Nikki Haley to overtake Donald Trump. However, she's vowing to plow on, and this remains, at least for now, a two-person race.
With New Hampshire, it's back-to-back victories for former President Donald Trump as he moves closer to the Republican presidential nomination.
We have to do what's good for our party.
Trump's win in the state, where nearly half of the voters identify as independents, adds to questions about former Ambassador Nikki Haley's path to victory. And Trump spent a majority of his speech last night appearing almost angry as he fixated on his only remaining GOP opponent.
This is not your typical victory speech, but let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night.
Trump's success in New Hampshire comes down to the strength of his base. According to CBS News exit polls, 80% of Trump's voters described their support as strongly for him, while only 30% of Haley's voters said they strongly favor her. Most of her backers said they were voting for her with some reservations or because they disliked Trump.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation.
Still, Haley is vowing to stay in the race, criticizing her 77-year-old rival.
With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment.
While Trump appeared to forecast a bruising campaign against Haley if she stays in the fight, and he leveled baseless accusations.
And just a little note to Nikki. She's not going to win. She's not going to win. But if she did, she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes, and so would Ron have been, but he decided to get out. He decided to get out.
But Haley says it's on to her home state of South Carolina.
Every time I've run for office in South Carolina, I've beaten the political establishment.
I did hear Nikki say, and now it's off to South Carolina. Well, I love South Carolina.
And speaking of South Carolina, that contest doesn't happen for another month. But if you live there, get prepared for the ad wars. Nikki Haley's campaign is spending nearly $4 million on ad buys there. And she's headed to South Carolina tonight for a rally in North Charleston. Tony?
Lots of money being spent. Caitlin, thank you very much. Let's go to Chief Election and Campaign Correspondent Robert Costa. Bob, good morning to you. When we were speaking yesterday, you said Nikki Haley needed single digits to convince donors to give her the money to stay in this race for the long term. Looks like she's in double digits behind Donald Trump. Is that enough?
Good morning, Tony. As Caitlin just said, there's a month between now and the South Carolina Republican primary. And in politics, a month can be a lifetime. Based on my conversations last night with top Haley allies, they're going to spend the coming days trying to figure out, is the money there? Is the momentum there? Meeting with donors, meeting with campaign officials in these further voting states, not only in South Carolina, but on Super Tuesday in early March.
So what are you hearing, Bob, about the Trump strategy going forward? He took a lot of personal pot shots at her last night.
Oh, Gayle, you are so right. We are now not just in a political campaign. We are in a season of political war. Look for a barrage of attacks on the airwaves, on social media from former President Donald Trump and from many members of the Republican Party. They are going to start coming out with more endorsements in the coming days, pressuring Haley to get out of the race and say it's time to coalesce around Trump.
Bob, Nikki Haley's talking about chaos on the Trump side. He's got all these legal entanglements. But so far, unless I'm missing something, it seems to be helping him, not hurting him. What's your read on that?
The key there is what you just said, Tony, so far. Right now, Trump campaign officials believe all of this on the legal front is helping Trump. It's stoking the grievances of his supporters. It's helping him generate momentum in this Republican race. At the same time, what's notable is behind the scenes, many Republicans are telling me they're concerned about what's on the horizon. If Trump's the nominee and then he's in court all of the time, even during the Republican convention, facing a trial on January 6th, classified records, and so many other things, that could be a drag on the entire Republican ticket.
All right, Bob Costa, thank you very much.